Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here speaking at the Global Skill Up Festival. My talk is about deployment strategies. And the key takeaways from this presentation is to look at deployment strategies from a very business context from your organization point of view, to look at application landscape and product categorization before you decide on deployment strategies, to take a platform view. It's suggested is important because this would fast track the adoption of modernization of your engineering culture, and we will also look at a few deployment strategies in detail. My name is Shivagami Gugan. I am a technology transformation leader. My passion is to implement business transformation using technologies that are applicable from in a manner that makes pure business value and business sense. So I have led the DevOps and SRE movement at Emirates, and I've headed the software engineering and site reliability engineering and cloud departments in a very large scale mission critical IT environment. I'm a data and analytics architect. I'm currently driving a tech transformation for an enterprise here in UAE. I'm a DevOps ambassador. So digital transformation is a very broad and big topic. Probably this is one of the most Googled words out there in the internet. So I would like to actually distill it out into four main themes. But first and foremost, the most important value driver for digital transformation is to deliver superior customer value. Right. So I completely relate with what Jerry talks here. So digital transformation it's not about technology transformation in isolation. It's not about organization transformation, but it is actually shifting from a very org-centric view to a custom-centric culture. So this is the mindset. This is the thinking shift that has to happen. So when we talk about customer centricity, so this is about giving this very frictionless, seamless, however cliched it may sound. This is what it is, right? To give hyper personalized experience to the customer, which is ubiquitous. So he can start his experience anywhere, visiting a brick and mortar shop, or visiting a branch, for example, if it is a bank. But then that particular experience for that transaction has to be seamless, irrespective of him using a phone or going to calling the call center. So if this is easier said than done, right? If this is the goal, then there are a lot of things that has to change internally, the way we look at technology. And one important aspect is how do you integrate. Your integration of technology is not going to fit any longer, because you have diversified needs. So now your integration technology will have to look at on-prem to hybrid cloud, between multi-cloud. Your API gateways have to change. Probably you're looking at event-driven architecture for things like Knative or functions as a service. You're not going to build everything yourself, are you? So if you're going to connect to the outside world and consume services for your AI ML models, consuming SaaS applications, so there should be a real good focus on how we integrate, be it real-time streaming, or be it if you're using batches and micro batches. How do you really integrate with the outside world and expose your services to the outside world? The other point is data. Again, data is the oil of the century, and the way you do analytics is actually the combustion engine for your enterprise. So moving away from a diagnostic way of using data, curating the data and getting the insights to move it to a very prescriptive and predictive analytical insight is something that will help digital transformation, help the transformation of your business in a very big manner. So the next theme that we spoke about in the previous slide is actually to develop this kind of a granular thinking, right? So be it from transforming from a waterfall model um, to bi-weekly sprints or whatever, or from monolithic architecture to microservices, or your VMs moving to containers, whatever it is, right? It's about having this very granular kind of a thinking, and then transforming at a very granular level, which then transcends, and it then you know uh, builds up to organization level transformation. So this gives you several advantages. One is, it builds a fail fast culture. It gives you um, a confidence that even if a fault occurs, the blast radius is really contained. And what it does is actually, when you bring it up to an organization level, it's not just agility that we're talking about. That would be the biggest enabler for the business, but agility, being agile when the business is scaling out. And it's not just product performance, because we're not talking about oversizing infrastructure. It's about building the right kind of technology so that it looks at internal and external efficiencies from a reliability point of view, from a performance point of view, from a scalability point of view. And this would in turn lead into employee and customer happiness and customer centricity, right? So there are some key manifestations that I've listed. It's not that you have to, you should be embarking on each and every thing that is listed here. But if an organization, by and large, is you see a few of these things happening, means that they are on the right track, and they are on the track of transformation, right? So please remember omni-channel, modular thinking, open APIs, and having smartness around using data, right? Again, if you see the IT architecture moving into microservices, your infrastructure is actually looked at from an elasticity point of view, consuming cloud native services. VMs are all getting converted into containers, and everything that is manual is looked at as evil. You're having a platform engineering mindset, and finally, your development ops. You see DevOps culture coming in. You see site reliability engineering culture coming in. These are a few manifestations that digital transformation is happening in your company. But when I talk to the CXOs here, one thing that I've heard quite often is, where to start. I mean, of course, it's a journey, but they're very much inspired by Amazon being able to drop code every 11 seconds, Google being able to fire up 3,000 containers or whatever every second. So that's fine. So, but where do you want to start? Your organization is not somebody else's organization. Your application landscape is extremely unique to your organization. So I'm reminded of this Tamil proverb because I come from the south of India. You're beautiful and small as you are. There's no need to, copycat. So this cat is trying to copycat the stripes from a tiger. What we're going to talk about the deployment strategies. You'll have to adapt it to your environment, to your application landscape. Okay, these are few suggestions. These are guardrails that you would like to explore and contextualize it for your environment. So the first one is, you may want to use the time framework, again from Gartner. So you can actually plot business value versus technology obsolescence of your applications, of your products, and look at, where is it that you want to invest, which are the applications that you want to eliminate, and then build your deployment strategies around it. You may also want to look at systems of record, systems of differentiation. So, probably systems of record once every 3 months is sufficient for a promote. Whereas if for systems of innovation, if a web and mobile kind of applications, you may want to drop code every day. Systems of differentiation is somewhere in between, once every 2 weeks probably. Again, contextualize it for your environment. This is again good to have a platform view, especially if you're scaling out at an enterprise level. So this would your deployment strategies would be a part of your CI/CD workflows. You can make an observability there. You can look at how everything is done, automated infrastructure as code, security and governance built in, and a lot of things which will be brought, which will be made easy if you have a real platform focus for your transformation. Now, coming into deployment strategies, right? What are the key criteria that you would look at for your product? One is fault tolerance. This is a given now, thanks to Kubernetes and platforms around Kubernetes. When a node goes down or when a cluster is down, you do not want to wake up at 3 a.m. It needs to auto heal and self heal. High availability, again, how many nines do you want after double nine or after your 99? As agreed with your business, that's a criteria that you will have to, if outages and downtime is not a problem, then probably you can go for some easier deployment methods. Responsiveness and scalability, these are two sides of the same coin, right? So if your system is performing and responsive at 100 users, is it really scalable and responsive at 2000 users? Yeah. So auto scalability, and again, not wasting infrastructure. You're not oversizing your infrastructure just to say, you want to maintain your peak loads. The risk of deployment, again, what is the risk appetite? Do you want to use methods like we're going to discuss, like Canary, where you want to roll out the features only to a subset of users? Do you want to use feature flags? A lot of things that we can talk about from a risk of deployment point of view, and obviously cost effectiveness, Knative, these kind of technologies shut down your application if there is no traffic, and it will scale up the application when there is traffic based on the load, the incoming load. Just getting into a little bit more details, the caveats you'll have to remember. Get into the details of your application and look at, do they handle gracefully your database conversions? Do they, how stateful are there? Are these applications, do they handle long running connections effectively? If your application is being strangled from a monolith, for example, and if you have a combination of hybrid and on-prem, how good are you going to achieve your deployment? Can you do something like zero downtime when you have such complicated um, uh, architecture or transit architecture, right? But these strategies are something that you can apply and you can use them um, at whatever makes sense for your product. So the first one we are looking at is Blue-green. So here, as the name suggests, you will have two versions. You'll have version A and you'll have version B released alongside version A. Okay. So the same number of pods or nodes and infrastructure, and then the traffic is switched to version B. So I'm not a big fan of this because I feel, given the container technologies, this is not a very effective uh, strategy. But of course, there are quite a few advantages as well in terms of rollback, etc. So we will look into the details of it. Now, Canary, again, people may know the history about this, right? This is based on this canary bird used by the miners. So you release it to a subset of users. Probably you're not very sure about the regression testing done, or you really want to test if the feature is going to fly in the market. And then you proceed to a full rollout based on the outcomes of that small percentage of traffic that you have actually allowed for a subset of users. Now, the rolling update is kind of the default strategy used by platforms like OpenShift. Here, version B is rolled out, replacing version A in a progressive manner. And the good thing here is when version B pods are up and running and they have been tested for some health checks, it's only after that that the existing pod, which is a version A pod, will be brought down. So it's a progressive update. Recreate, I'm sure we are very familiar with this if you're not aware of the term. So this is mostly what organizations have been doing for ages, right? Very dummy kind of a deployment strategy. So version A is terminated and version B is then rolled out. So there will be downtime here as agreed with your business, equivalent to your boot up time for version B and your your shutdown time, etc. But this is again a strategy that can be used. Now AB A/B testing or A/B upgrade. So this is when you want a certain amount of traffic to be always flowing into a subset of users. So you keep two versions of your software, and all of these, most of these have this problem of n-1 compatibility, which we'll look at, right? And at the load balancer level or the router level, you send a percentage of traffic to a subset of users based on geotagging or based on language, whatever. Serverless, it's a topic that demands a separate session. But I would like to highlight that serverless is also a technology. I mean, it's a deployment strategy because their technologies like Knative really very cost effective. Application comes alive based on an event, and this event can be triggered by traffic. Now let's look at blue-green. Instantaneous rollback is possible. Zero downtime approach because the switch is almost instantaneous and it is expensive. So just to uh, look at it from a point of view, from a deployment point of view, I'm going to use OpenShift here. So OpenShift is an open source Kubernetes based platform. And I'm going to use their standard image, which gives hello world or hello OpenShift, one of these kind of responses. So this image is a standard image which runs a web server and an application which gives a response. This response can be changed by using this environment variable. So I'm going to change it to hello from blue, and then I'm going to instantiate. So here there are 9 replicas. I'm going to instantiate again similar 9 replicas for green, and then we switch from blue to green. Yeah, that's what we're going to see. So this is the first application, 9 instances of hello blue. So here you can see that we have deployed the application. So let me just get that out. So this is your URL. I'll just do a curl of this. And you can see that, okay, it is still deploying the plot, but you will see very soon, you will see that, it starts okay, you have blue running. So this is your blue. This is there you go. I'm going to deploy green now. I'm going to change the traffic from blue to green. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I have deployed green now. I'm going to change the traffic from blue to green. So you can see here. So the green is getting 100% of the traffic. This is as simple as that. So from blue to hello to green. Yeah. So this is blue-green deployment. Pretty simple to understand. So now let's look at canary. So canary deployment. So this was blue-green. So this is your traffic pattern. Yeah. Blue and then it goes to green. Now this is so here canary is we spoke about it. So you have 90% and then you have 10% and traffic routed to version 2, as you can see. And after some time, when you are satisfied with version 2, you can switch 100% of the traffic. So faster rollback, n-1 compatibility is required here. It is primarily used to minimize risk. So let's see what we can do here. So this is canary. So I'm going to use the same image, but I'm going to deploy prod and canary. So prod is going to have 9 instances of the application. Canary is going to have 1 instance. Okay, so you can see here there are 9 instances of prod. There is 1 instance of canary, and this is so what I'm going to do is now switch from prod to canary 10%. Yeah. So this one is, you can see here, it just shows prod. I'm going to now switch the traffic 10% to here. You can see that the traffic, 10% of the traffic is going to be switched to canary. There you go. Here you can see prod, canary, prod, canary. Okay, so this is canary deployment. Okay, so as you can see, this is the kind of traffic pattern. So you started with 5%, 10%, you can change the weight, yeah? Or you can keep making it progressive, and at one stage when you are happy, you just switch to version 2. Okay, so a rolling upgrade. So this one is the default with OpenShift. So this is pretty easy to demonstrate. Now, the old pod is removed only when the new pod passes the health checks. You can specify the number of unavailable instances. You can specify the number of instances to add in addition to the current version. So at any point of time, it's n+1 instances. So it is not as expensive as, for example, the blue-green. And it gives you complete good control over how you roll out your software. So we'll see how this is done here. So I'm going to do a rolling update. Again, same hello OpenShift. This is the URL to access your host. Okay, you'll have to watch this now. So this is hello OpenShift, right? Now I'm going to implement the second version, and the second version is going to be hello from new rolling update. So this is the next version. Okay. So this is the next version. So we'll have to wait for the pods. There you go, OpenShift. Now it's trying to switch the traffic to version 2. Okay, there is no error. It will not give a downtime. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not able to show you with the console. There you go. It has actually switched over to OpenShift, but you want to just load this again. While you can just, I'm going to show the rolling update again. Okay. So let's do this one more time. That's your okay. So this is working fine. Let me also check if your console is working in this. Yeah. Okay. So you have your application running there. Now I'm going to change the version to the second version. I'm going to call the responses hello from new rolling upgrade. Okay, so go to the terminal. Just have to wait. There you go. So you can see that it is getting created. And if you actually check the URL, no, okay, sorry, this is what I wanted to show you. The switch from OpenShift to the new rolling update. Yeah. So okay, so we look at the next. So this is rolling update, which we saw. So this is the traffic pattern. So it gradually moves from version 1 to version 2. So recreate. So this one is you do not have to support having new version, old version. You just remove entirely one version and you bring up version 2. So this you use when you're having probably, I mean, just a context here. You have a read write volume which is not supported, and it is being shared between multiple replicas. So the downtime impact on users arising from. Okay, So we look at the next one, which is recreate. So recreate is you do not have to support a new and old version. And this is probably used when you have a read-write only volume, right, which is being shared between multiple replicas. So there is a downtime impact. And again, depending on your application, if this downtime is okay, so we can go for it. Not an issue. So here, as you can see, this is the pattern. There will be downtime. And you can see that here as well. So we go to the terminal. Okay, so we go to recreate, and because this is the default, this is not the default for OpenShift. We'll have to edit the deployment config. Okay, we can do that. So here, okay, so this is your host. Okay, so this is fine. I'm going to now go to the console and I'm going to change this. So go to recreate, look at the deployment config and just make a small change to go to recreate, because by default it will show rolling. So I just want to edit it to show the characteristics of recreate. Here you can see type is rolling. Let's change it. That's it. Save. Reload it. Go back to your terminal. Try to deploy. We don't have to increase the replicas. The replicas were increased just to show the gap of the outage, but hopefully you will see the outage here. So this is the next version that we are creating, hello from recreate. And when you're doing a while, you will get an error. So it's still getting served from version 1. Okay, and then here you go, it stops. So if you go to the console, go to the developer view, what is the recreate is happening here. So if you look at the route, it's already up. There you go, it's already up, right? So here, if you go to the terminal, here you go. So let me just stop here. So before hello from recreate, and in between, this is the kind of error that it was trying to produce the spin up the pods. So here you see hello OpenShift. Now it brings down all the instances. There is an outage, and then it brings out hello recreate. So here, which means if we were checking this, there is an error that will come for the time that it takes to actually spin up the version 2 pods and apply version 2 on it. Okay, so this is the downtime impact that you will see. So AB upgrades is very similar to Canary, but here this is like a permanent requirement that you want to roll out some features to just a subset, and this can be based on your geolocation or language. So the routing happens to a subset of users for the new functionality and the specific criteria. So this is a standard traffic pattern for AB rollouts. Now serverless, we spoke about it. So developers can focus on their core skills to build code, and then deployment is not their headache. It's a very cost-effective method. So if you see the invocation durations, you can see that this invocation, which probably was based on an event, is for 15 minutes. It stayed for 15 minutes. The second one is just 407 milliseconds. Yeah, so it's very cost effective in terms of how you look at infrastructure. And these event triggers could be anything. It could be an upload to an S3, it could be an SNS message, it could be here we deployed it for at the dockyard. So it was based on an output and traffic generated by an IoT device. So when the ship docks, it creates traffic, and this would actually trigger a serverless installation. And then when the ship undocks, the traffic from the IoT device stops, and then automatically the pods scale down to zero. So this is a very cost-effective way of implementing your deployment. So in summary, this is what I had to share with you today. So deployment strategies, which would have been very difficult to set up, probably a few years back, considering on-premise configurations, etc., is now made very easy using new container technologies. Please remember, there's nothing like this. Whatever fits or wherever you've seen it work will work for your environment, for your application. And whatever be the deployment strategy, the developers and the operation teams have to work very closely. If you do not have an operations team at all, and if the developers are completely following you build, you build, you run, and that's great. If you're in the transition, then just make sure that the teams work closely, and at a product level it is agreed. And of course, this is going to ensure continuous delivery, it's going to mitigate risks, and it's going to introduce new features in a controlled manner that's achieving the goals of customer centricity, achieving the goals of giving this seamless experience to the customer, because you have the agility to drop code in the frequency that you think that matters for your organization. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to chat with you in the lobby. So thank you for your time today.